Prepare yourself for one of the most explosive royal scandals of the modern era, a story so shocking and controversial that it nearly destroyed the reputation of a future king and sent shockwaves through one of Europe's most beloved monarchies just months before a historic coronation that would change everything forever. What you are about to discover will completely transform your understanding of the Danish royal family and reveal the dark secrets that almost prevented King Frederik from ever ascending to the throne. The year was 2023, and everything seemed perfect in the Danish royal household as Crown Prince Frederik prepared for what would become his inevitable rise to kingship following his mother Queen Margrethe's surprise abdication announcement. The Danish people adored their future king and his Australian-born wife Mary. Their fairy tale romance had captured hearts worldwide, and their 4 children represented the perfect royal family that citizens could admire and respect. But beneath this polished royal facade, a scandal was brewing that would rock the very foundations of the Danish monarchy and create international headlines that royal watchers are still discussing today. It was in October 2023 when a Spanish magazine published explosive images that would change everything, photographs showing Crown Prince Frederik at a Pablo Picasso exhibition in Madrid accompanied by a stunning Mexican socialite named Genoveva Casanova, with the tabloid claiming the pair had enjoyed a private dinner and that Frederik had visited Casanova's apartment. The images were intimate, casual, and completely unexpected, showing the married crown prince in what appeared to be a very personal and private evening with a woman who was definitely not his wife. The woman at the center of this explosive scandal was no ordinary socialite but rather a fascinating and complex figure whose own story reads like a glamorous telenovela filled with aristocratic connections, Hollywood aspirations, and international intrigue that made her the perfect storm for a royal controversy. Genoveva Casanova, a 47-year-old Mexican actress and model who had established herself in Madrid's elite social circles after marrying into Spanish aristocracy, possessed exactly the kind of sophisticated European glamour and mysterious allure that makes for tabloid gold and royal scandal headlines. The photographs that emerged told a story that the Danish royal family was completely unprepared to handle, images that showed Frederik looking relaxed, comfortable, and genuinely happy as he spent what appeared to be an intimate evening exploring Madrid's cultural treasures with this captivating woman who moved effortlessly through Spain's highest social circles. The optics were devastating, the timing was catastrophic, and the implications for the Danish monarchy were potentially explosive in ways that royal crisis management experts had never encountered before. Spanish tabloid lectures, known for their aggressive royal coverage and sensational headlines, did not merely publish a few innocent tourist photographs but rather alleged something far more scandalous, writing that the prince had been seen entering Casanova's apartment at night and did not leave until 7 hours later. The implications of this timeline were impossible to ignore, creating a narrative of infidelity and betrayal that threatened to destroy not only Frederik's personal reputation but the entire moral authority of the Danish crown. The scandal exploded across European media with the kind of intensity that transforms royal watching from polite curiosity into a feeding frenzy of speculation, analysis, and gossip that consumed social media platforms, news cycles, and dinner table conversations throughout Denmark and beyond. Royal experts who had spent decades covering the Danish monarchy found themselves completely unprepared for this level of controversy, particularly involving a crown prince who had always maintained such a squeaky clean public image and seemed so devoted to his family. What made this scandal particularly explosive was not just the apparent infidelity itself, but the timing of when these revelations emerged, coming at a moment when the Danish royal family was preparing for one of the most significant transitions in modern royal history with Queen Margrethe's planned abdication and Frederik's imminent coronation. The royal household found itself managing 2 massive stories simultaneously, the historic changing of the guard and a potentially monarchy-destroying personal scandal that threatened to overshadow everything. The official explanations that emerged seemed almost comically inadequate for the explosive nature of the photographs and allegations, with reports suggesting that a mutual friend of Frederik and Genoveva had been unable to accompany the prince to visit an art exhibition due to illness and had asked Genoveva to go in his place to view the Picasso exhibition. This explanation, while technically plausible, seemed to strain credibility when weighed against the intimate nature of the photographs and the extended timeline that the Spanish tabloid had documented. The Danish royal family found themselves in an impossible position, caught between their traditional policy of never commenting on personal matters and the growing media firestorm that was threatening to engulf the monarchy just months before Frederik's planned ascension to the throne. Royal communications experts crafted carefully worded statements indicating that they do not comment on rumors or insinuations, following reports that Frederik and socialite Genoveva Casanova had spent time together in Madrid, but these standard royal responses seemed woefully inadequate for managing such an explosive scandal. The international media coverage was relentless and unforgiving, with royal correspondents from around the world descending on Copenhagen and Madrid to investigate every aspect of this developing story, while tabloids competed to uncover additional details about the relationship between the future Danish king and the glamorous Mexican socialite. The story had everything that makes for compelling royal drama: a handsome prince, a beautiful woman, exotic locations, aristocratic connections, and the potential destruction of a beloved royal marriage that had been held up as a modern fairy tale success story. What made the scandal even more complicated was the genuinely sympathetic figure of Crown Princess Mary, the Australian marketing executive turned royal who had won the hearts of the Danish people through her grace, intelligence, and obvious devotion to her adopted country and her royal duties. The images of Frederik with another woman created a narrative where Mary became the victim of royal infidelity, generating enormous sympathy for her while intensifying criticism of her husband's apparent betrayal of their marriage vows and royal responsibilities. The timing could not have been worse for the Danish monarchy, coming at a moment when royal families throughout Europe were already facing questions about their relevance, their expense, and their moral authority in increasingly democratic and egalitarian societies. A major infidelity scandal involving the future king threatened to undermine all of the goodwill and public support that the Danish royals had carefully cultivated over decades of exemplary service and personal conduct. Behind the scenes, royal crisis management experts were working around the clock to contain the damage and craft strategies for preserving the monarchy's reputation while preparing for Frederik's inevitable coronation. The challenge was unprecedented, requiring them to balance truth-telling with reputation management, personal privacy with public accountability, and traditional royal protocols with modern media realities that no previous generation of royal advisors had ever faced. Genoveva Casanova herself became a central figure in managing the crisis when she chose to break her silence and speak publicly about the rumors in January, after King Frederik had already ascended to the throne, creating additional complications for royal communications specialists who had hoped the story would simply fade away without further public statements or explanations from any of the key participants. The Danish public's reaction was complex and multifaceted, reflecting the deep affection they felt for the royal family while struggling to reconcile the allegations with their image of Frederik as a devoted husband and father. Royal experts noted that one of the most contentious talking points was this recent scandal that struck the new king towards the end of the previous year, when he was spotted in Madrid with Genoveva Casanova, creating significant discussion about how the Danish public really felt about those controversial photographs. The scandal raised fundamental questions about modern royal marriages, the pressures of royal life, and the realistic expectations that the public should have for the personal conduct of hereditary monarchs who never chose their positions but inherited them, along with all of the restrictions and responsibilities that come with royal status. Royal watchers debated whether traditional expectations of perfect moral conduct were fair or realistic for modern royals living in an era of intense media scrutiny and social media exposure. The international implications were significant as well, with other European royal families watching carefully to see how the Danish monarchy would handle this crisis and what lessons might be learned from managing similar situations that could arise in any royal household. The scandal became a case study in royal crisis management, media relations, and the delicate balance between personal privacy and public accountability that defines modern constitutional monarchy. What emerged from this crisis was a more complex understanding of the Danish royal family, one that acknowledged their humanity while maintaining respect for their institutional role in public service. The scandal, rather than destroying the monarchy, may have actually humanized Frederik and Mary in ways that made them more relatable and sympathetic to their subjects who understood the pressures and challenges of modern relationships even within the rarefied world of royal marriage. The aftermath of the scandal continued to influence royal watching and media coverage even after Frederik's successful coronation, with royal experts noting that the controversy had created a more nuanced and realistic understanding of royal life that moved beyond fairy tale narratives toward recognition of the complex human realities that exist behind palace walls and official royal portraits. The lessons learned from this scandal have implications far beyond the Danish monarchy, offering insights into celebrity culture, media ethics, the nature of modern marriage, and the evolving relationship between public figures and the societies they serve. The story demonstrates how quickly personal scandals can escalate into institutional crises while also showing the resilience of well-established institutions that maintain public trust through decades of service and dedication. The scandal also highlighted the international nature of modern royal watching, with Spanish tabloids, British royal correspondents, Australian media outlets covering Mary's perspective, and Mexican entertainment media following Genoveva's story, creating a truly global media phenomenon that transcended national boundaries and cultural differences in ways that previous royal scandals never achieved. The role of social media in amplifying and sustaining the scandal cannot be understated, with platforms like Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok spreading images, theories, and commentary at a speed and scale that traditional royal crisis management strategies were simply not designed to handle. The viral nature of the controversy demonstrated how modern royal scandals operate in a completely different media ecosystem than previous generations of royal crises. The economic implications were significant as well, with the scandal affecting everything from Danish tourism to royal merchandise sales, while creating new opportunities for Spanish and Mexican media outlets that found themselves at the center of international royal coverage in ways they had never experienced before. The global nature of modern royal watching turned a Spanish tabloid story into an international economic phenomenon with ramifications across multiple industries and countries. As the dust settles on this extraordinary scandal, the question remains whether this controversy will be remembered as a brief moment of crisis that the Danish monarchy successfully navigated, or as a turning point that fundamentally changed how royal families approach privacy, media relations, and public accountability in an age of constant surveillance and instant global communication. The personal cost to all involved was undoubtedly significant, with Frederik, Mary, and their children forced to navigate intense public scrutiny while maintaining their royal duties and family relationships under circumstances that would challenge any marriage or family. The resilience they showed throughout this crisis may ultimately strengthen rather than weaken their position as Denmark's royal family. Please subscribe to our channel for more shocking royal revelations and untold scandals that will change everything you thought you knew about European monarchy. Hit the like button if this incredible story left you speechless, share this video with anyone who loves royal drama and international intrigue, and comment below with your thoughts on whether royal families can survive scandals like this in the modern media age, because the question that royal experts are still debating is this: did this explosive scandal actually make the Danish monarchy stronger by proving they could survive their biggest crisis, or did it expose fundamental vulnerabilities that will continue to threaten their future?